where all those projects are scattered throughout. Actually, the Midwest, the upper Midwest, has been one of the larger deployment areas of smart water projects, and the East Coast. California is starting to come on board way more this year with drought coming on over there. So who is Census? We're the #1 in North American smart grid for water. We have 17% market share, and again, a global adoption of our smart water networks. We've won electric contracts and increased market share there. With the competitors, there's lots of competitors that do electric meters. Like you said, DTE is doing your other one. We compete with them in that market also, but we have a 25% share. And then the gas market is starting to come up also. Same technology used, same endpoints, same infrastructure on all different products. And just a little bit of the overview of the products themselves that I'll be talking about in the thing. The smart points, the radios that actually transmit the radio read, is the little box on the upper left, right? That's what we call a smart point, right? So that has a little radio in it, transmits, it's got a 20-year battery, and that's what we call a smart point. That'll be on the outside of the houses, or in the basements, correct? Depending on where you put it. They can go inside the house or outside of the house. If you want studies on how much they transmit in energy, we can do that also.
So every meter location has one of those antenna type things?
Well, the smart point is what we call the box on the left.
Okay.
The little box.
Okay.
Right. And then you'll have a tower. I don't know. You have a couple towers here, with a transmitter and a receiver in there, with a little same thing, a server in the bottom in the bottom of the tower, what we call a base station. Okay. Right. So that reads the meters and then sends that information. On the right is all the servers, and there'll be servers. Census has their own data centers. So we have one in Boise and one in Raleigh. They're both duplicated, fully backed up every day, every night. That all your data is secure in all those locations. Actually, the smart points themselves carry about, can be configured to store 30 days of data. The towers and the base station, which is right below it, same thing, 45 days a station. And then the servers that we're proposing to you stores 2 years of live data of all the meter reads. And then if you want to archive more, we can set that up to archive it off into, storage and other locations. Down on the lower left corner is the water meter we're proposing here. It's called an iPearl water meter, latest technology smart water meter, no moving parts, fully electronic, and same thing, and a 20-year battery in there, 20-year life, no maintenance at all. And we can go a little more detail. Just so those are the components that you'll be getting.
One thing to point out is the what do you call this again?
The smart point.
Smart point. All our meters are read by a box similar to that. We would just be replacing the box that's currently on the homes or on the businesses with this particular box. So we already have those points there, but it's just read by a car.
Right, a drive-by system, right?
So you wouldn't be replacing the actual meter below it?
We would in some cases, and we'll get into explaining what the program entails, which includes replacing some up front, the bigger meters, and then the residential in a more gradual plan. But we'll get into that shortly.
Are all of our current smart points in-houses or outside? Is there, because I think he said they can be either. What are we currently doing?
They're all out.
Most of them, 99% of them are. That rare instance where you've got high, where kids or whatever damage them, we'll mount them inside at the meter, but that's, like I said, that's maybe 1%.
So this is the actual smart water meter itself. It's called an iPearl. Some stats on the iPearl. Census has sold over 1 million of those, and have those roughly 1 million sold already and installed throughout the United States. It's been out there for years, been widely accepted. Again, local towns, Saginaw, Livonia have all had these meters installed. The big advantage of the meter itself is because it's all electronic and there's no propeller or anything anymore. It's all a flow-through tube, all electronics. The low flow performance and accuracy stays consistent for 20 years. The older meters had the rotating disc inside. Those as dirt and stuff builds up on side of those, they slow down, less accurate. This will stay in performance, high, guaranteed, warranted for 20 years, to stay after it for 20 years. Right? And we're down to 1/3 of a gallon on these. And again, high and low flow performance, where you catch all your information. Right? They are programmable. Register the resolution as far as down to the gallon, 10 gallons, whatever you're setting. They're fully programmable over the air. Apparent losses, I'm not going to read slide for slide, but these are the advantage of the resident. No moving parts, no stuff, no noise, some of the older meters. Lead-free, and then as I said, stores 45 days of data in the actual meter itself. So if that infrastructure go down, they take the box off the side of the house, they cut the wire, the meter still has the information in it for 45 days. And we get notified when they cut the wire. Again, it has all the alarms. Onboard data logging is the 45 days. It'll recognize backflow. So if there's pressure in your system, backflow, that also gets generated as an alarm. Tamper, if somebody comes over, because it's electronic, if somebody comes over with a magnet, right, is one of the things that people have figured out about these new electronic meters, that if they come over it with a magnet, we'll get a tamper alarm. It needs a magnet over it for 15 seconds, I think is what the number is, but then it'll come back. If the magnet recognizes, they take the magnet away, it'll recognize it, but the alarm gets generated. And then all the normal empty pipe, leak detection, and those are all programmable, broken pipe, cut wire, magnetic, the low batteries if the battery for some reason goes bad, and then wellness alarm or life status. As the battery starts draining, if there's a defective battery or something like that that's draining fast for some reason, or it got.
Yeah, and just to add to that, this is one of the tools that we're pretty excited to work with because, as it says up here, leak detection, we'll be able to actually tell if a resident has a leak in their home, maybe probably before they recognize it. It actually can get down to the point where you can identify a running toilet. So if you got someone who leaves town, we can set the
Leak detection
parameters to identify certain amounts. Also, you know, the cut wire, inevitably, and we still see this today, people trying to install bypasses or having bypasses installed, which is illegal to steal water so they don't have to pay for it. Or they'll have bypasses that are supposed to be shut off and you'll go there and they're partially open. So they're partially running through the meter and partially running for free.
Absolutely.
This system will catch it because anyone who basically you'll.
If they put in the bypass, you get the empty pipe alarm. If they turn off, you generate that empty pipe alarm, and within 4 hours you're going to get that notification.
Right. So it will
Any of
come
these
over.
alarms generate. So we transmit by default, and we can change your setting but every 4 hours we set the transmit.
So we can catch, you know, whether it's an inadvertent situation, we can catch the ones that are someone trying to get something for nothing, and we can know pretty much instantaneously within a number of hours where we can contact the resident, or if we know it's a situation in the winter time, you know, we can get out there immediately for shutoffs. And we did have a number of homes this winter that, you know, we got calls from the neighbors saying, so-and-so is not here, they're either out of town or they're working, there's water running out of their house. And, you know, we had one situation where it was a vacant house, so we had to try to get into the house because the shut-off wouldn't work at the curb stop.
So, Dave, so how are residents notified? Through the system, how would that go about?
I'm sorry, how they're
Residents would be notified through that system here.
How will
Leak or
that you're gonna
anything
Yeah,
replace-
these alarms,
that
are
you're
they
gonna replace
audible alarms that
Yeah.
within the house or?
Well, no, it would come to us in the data center or
Right.
over the computer, and then we would need to contact that either property owner over the phone, email if we have it, if they've generated a call in through the CRM program, or physically go out there if it's, you know, something where water's continuously running.
And then we do, which is not part of the proposal, but we do have a customer portal that can be added to that. We do have a website and a customer portal where they could get email, text, or phone calls.
Now,
We could
what-
add-
They can
we could
check
add
it
that-
out.
We could add that to the system. It's a function that's available.
What if this happened at 7 o'clock at night, though? I mean, does somebody have to be in the
Right.
office to see it? And then you guys wouldn't realize it until the next business day when you showed up for work, or?
Yeah,
That's
so
why, you know, I like your
Someone on
question
Friday.
about, there's not an audible alarm in the house to where, like, if your hot water tank went out or anything like that, it wouldn't sound off or
do
anything?
these alarms like generate a text to say you or whoever's in charge of?
Well, and Mr. Sneholm's not here, but as we move more forward in technology, as tracking our jobs, we have tough books now, which log on to the system, but we're transitioning to tablets and other things for the foreman on call. So we would look at setting it up where if an alarm went off, you know, a specific alarm went off, say, a leak detection in a certain parameter, that the foreman would be notified, where then they could pull it up on the tablet and, you know, dispatch accordingly, go check it out and then dispatch.